During the past week, it became evident that U.S. President Donald Trump takes a dim view of his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, a man whose appointment to that key role he fought resolutely for in the face of serious objections. This is not a clash of egos, but another instance of Mr. Trump's disdain for constitutional propriety regarding conflicts of interest and the murky issue of Russia's influence on the 2016 presidential election. The current episode dates back 4 months to when Mr. Sessions recused himself from the FBI's inquiry into whether Moscow had interfered in the election. Although Mr. Trump at the time dismissed the notion that such action was called for, Mr. Sessions's recusal was consistent with settled norms and with his own reassurances on Capitol Hill that he would consider being removed from any process where he thought his impartiality might reasonably be questioned. The president's anger at the FBI investigation then swelled, leading to the abrupt firing of the Bureau's director James Comey in May. Mr. Comey had previously told the House of Representatives Intelligence Committee that the FBI was investigating whether the Trump campaign coordinated with Russia during the election. Since July 24, Mr. Trump has stepped up his public attacks on Mr. Sessions, describing the recusal as very unfair and suggesting that Mr. Sessions showed bias in favor of Democratic election rival Hillary Clinton by not probing her emails as he should have. Observers are not surprised that Mr. Trump, a man of his own making, has shown himself to be comfortable with a casual approach toward conflicts of interest. Yet what they may not have anticipated is the extent to which his desire to protect the personal interests of his family and the business interests of the Trump organization could eventually lead to a chasm between the White House and the Republican Party. After all, many among the party's traditional conservatives believe firmly in the established traditions of checks and balances within the government system and would view the suspected Russian meddling through the lens of fierce patriotism. The clearest indication that trust is fraying between the Oval Office and Capitol Hill is the fact that representatives this week passed a tough sanctions bill with proposed measures targeting Moscow by an overwhelming 419 to 3 vote. This would hamper Mr. Trump's strategy of extending the hand of friendship to Vladimir Putin. Mr. Trump can ill afford such a trust deficit, especially when his own officials appear to be uncertain over their boss plans. This would apply, for instance, to Defense Secretary James Mattis, who was on vacation when Mr. Trump unexpectedly announced a ban on transgender persons in the military. Nitish Kumar's impending split from the Mahagathbandhan, or Grand Alliance, in Bihar had been the subject of speculation for months, so that when it came, the only surprise was the swiftness and finality of the separation from Lalu Prasad's Rashtriya Janata Dal, and of his embrace of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The sequence of events suggests that Mr. Kumar had secured the new alliance and his continuation as chief minister before he resigned. This is why the proffered reason for his resignation, the allegations of corruption against his deputy chief minister and Mr. Prasad's son, Tejashwai Yadav, lacked conviction. Mr. Kumar's record of shifting fast and loose between allies is a story of political expediency, and it is not entirely clear what political compulsion or personal ambition the latest move was born of. If it was naive to believe that in 2013 he led the Janata Dal United away from the BJP, with which he led a coalition government in Bihar, because of a sudden aversion to prime ministerial candidate Narendra Modi and communalism, then it is just as ingenuous to think that his recent move is a result of a principled fight against corruption. Surely, Mr. Kumar knew he had teamed up with a party led by a man convicted for corruption in the fodder scam when he joined hands with Mr. Prasad to fight the 2015 Bihar Assembly election. The record shows that Mr. Kumar's rallying cry changes depending on which political party he chooses to be up against. As Mr. Kumar inched closer to the BJP, praising demonetization, supporting its presidential candidate, and even coloring a lotus at a public function. The war on corruption became his overriding theme once again. While it is likely he will steer the JDU on this political realignment in the days to come, a question mark remains on how long the new arrangement will last. In the BJP's Take No Prisoners project to expand its electoral footprint, a multi-cornered contest in Bihar on the lines of the last Lok Sabha election could be the best case scenario for the party in 2019. Will it have any use for the JDU, then? As for Mr. Kumar, he has since 2005 built a constituency made up of vulnerable subsections of the electorate, women and the more backward among the other backward classes, Dalits, Mahadalits, and Muslims, Pasmanda Muslims. These are voters he has sought to tie into the development narrative with his various allies and forge winning coalitions. Whether this tactic has run its course will be known at the next election, midterm or otherwise. The gains to the JDU from the patch-up are not immediately evident, if indeed Mr. Kumar sees something more durable than a settling of scores with Mr. Prasad. What is without doubt is that opposition unity has suffered a setback. The Mahagathbandhan was perceived as the template for taking on the BJP nationally. What's more, there were many people who hoped, and once again naively, that Mr. Kumar would be at the heart of it.